It's Friday, October 11th, 2013. I'm Alex Jones, and this is an extremely important edition of InfoWars Nightly News.
Tonight, the Obamacare website may be a joke, but don't laugh at the TSA.
Jokes concerning security may result in your arrest.
And it was unprecedented when a Nuke deputy commander was relieved for cause. Now, the top Nuke commander has been fired. What's going on? All that and more on tonight's InfoWars Nightly News.
I'm not saying we wouldn't get our hair mussed, but I do say no more than 10 to 20 million killed, tops, depending on the breaks.
First off tonight, two separate top Nuke commanders have been removed from command in the last month following our internal sources telling us that nukes were basically dug out of secret mothballs at Dyess Air Force Base in West Texas and disappeared onto the East Coast. Now, the number 2 commander of nuclear forces, an admiral, was removed a few weeks ago, and now the commander over all the forces, a Lieutenant General Carey, was removed today. But get this, the Associated Press leaked the information out to the rest of the press, and their reporters said that everyone's scared in government to even talk about the purge of generals that is going on right now. Normally it'd be big news, you'd know why. This is getting extremely, extremely suspicious. And after the first break, Anthony Gucciardi, Infowars.com and StoryLeak.com reporter, is going to be in studio with us, breaking down all the different connections and the players. This is one of the most dangerous stories we've ever reported on. It's very, very serious, so that's coming up. But first, we live in a free country, so everything's all right.
You are also reminded that any inappropriate remarks or jokes concerning security may result in your arrest. We appreciate your cooperation while these measures are in effect.
That's right. If you go to Infowars.com, you can read the story by Paul Joseph Watson. TSA loudspeakers threatens travelers with arrest for joking. So if you criticize them or if you say, hey, don't touch my junk, there's no reason to arrest you. They're going to claim disorderly conduct or that you basically pose a security threat. And it's all pure intimidation. Law states they can do nothing to you. The problem is behind closed doors, they may beat your brains out. It's on record that at a lot of airports, folks that have been handed over to the police have ended up hanging themselves when their handcuffs were cuffed behind their back. So it's a very, very serious situation. And it just shows how, hey, your First Amendment's dead. So now they have TSA checkpoints on the highways. If I criticize those, will I be arrested? Because we're such a land of the free, home of the brave. But hey, at least in the new land of the free, home of the brave, I have Obamacare. And John Rappaport wrote a really good article for Infowars.com where he's asked, what's the crash really all about? And he's right. Reading his article, it really clicks with all my research. They knew months ago that the Obamacare exchange wasn't working. It's just an NSA data hub. Mike Adams, the programmer, researched it as well. Mainstream media has admitted that none of it really works. It's a fraud. So why did they let the train wreck continue? Because they want to wreck the entire existing healthcare system to bring in something even more draconian that follows the entire Cloward and Piven sociological program to bankrupt the country. No one's been able to sign up with it. You can get phone numbers off of it and call people that hand you over to an insurance rep who can do it. Premiums are already doubling. They're set to quadruple the next 5 years, triple by 2015. But by 2017, we're talking about tripling or quadrupling. The numbers are debated, but already it's making good on the promise to make affordable care another big joke. Patriot Act's the opposite of patriotism. New Freedom Initiative, drugging kids forcibly, is the opposite of New Freedom. The Affordable Care Act's a big joke. I mean, it's all just part of a huge joke on us. Like even the Obamacare term that Obama says he's proud of. Obamacare. Obama cares about me. Yeah, he cares about absolutely running over you politically and consolidating power. Shifting gears, though, there's a new poll out. NBC Wall Street Journal poll says 60% say fire every member of Congress. Well, they must be talking to some idiots because there's actually some good members of the House, libertarian types. This just shows the general public has a kind of naive dissatisfaction with the power structure in the system and is now figuring out that they're not their friends. The really encouraging poll is out of Gallup showing 18-point support for the government as a whole and trust in the government. And that's just in all demographics together. Some demographics show 5% support for the government. So there is an absolute wake-up taking place across the country. But just because you've awoken doesn't mean you know exactly what's happening. But people are at least not in a coma now. They've gotten up, they're rubbing the sleep out of their eyes and looking around trying to find out exactly what's happening. Into that vacuum of waking up from zombiosis, we've got to be in there explaining to people who the globalists are, what their real plan is. Because the globalists have been so arrogant and thought they had everything cinched up. They've been very public in white papers about why they put fluoride in the water to give us cancer and sterilize us, why they teach 2 + 2 = 5 to shatter any type of mental acuity or being able to judge reality. Kind of like it was declassified on Monday that the CIA for 60 years has been funding deviant art. They started out with just Pollocks that are splash painting things, which I think is good art, but to just change the idea of what good art was with new art to get people thinking, so not so that they would expand their awakening and their understanding, but so they could then be brought over into truly mentally ill and deviant art in the future. It's kind of like a fish hook has a piece of meat on it or a good worm that tastes good like a Pollock, to then get you to shift over out of classical art so they can bring you down the road towards the hook. That is the incredibly degenerate stuff we see on television, the sexualization of children, everything, because they need to mentally screw you up so you have no morals so that they can do whatever they want and you will accept it. Kind of like they're saying they can do backroom abortions, that an auto mechanic can do abortions now in California. That's now the law. That if somebody's got a Roto-Rooter, they can do it, and they call that a right. They call that a human right. But if I try to open up a dental office without a degree and rip teeth out, I'll be arrested, and I should be. But now, if you want to just, again, have anybody can do an abortion in California. This is the lawlessness of these people, as long as it's anti-life. But the New York Times calls it availability of abortions. No, they just legalized non-medical abortions is what they did. Hell, the coat hanger cost you 10 cents. There you go. So that's what's happening out in California. And they know how to make it look normal and good and like a fun idea. Shifting gears, Google's Chrome cache exposed your personal data. Like everything Google puts out, it's got backdoors for them to use the data. So these aren't security flaws. These are features of the NSA privately owned hacker groups that run Google, the black hat hackers par excellence, that are gang raping your privacy. Just like the head of Facebook said famously that his users that trusted him were dumb effers. Well, it turns out that Zuckerberg has now bought up all the houses around him, the other $20 million houses, so that no one can look at him, and so he has privacy. Just like Schmidt, the head of Google, says you have no privacy, but he makes his girlfriends wear bags over their heads like they're Michael Jackson children. So there you go. And it's also come out now that Google plans to sell users endorsements, whether you like it or not. If you're using Google and they have your ID, they're going to say, hey, Bill Johnson likes poop videos. You know, so come on over to our site where you can see people doing Jackson Pollock projectile pooping on the wall because John Doe really likes it. I mean, I'm sorry, but those are the new Google ads. I'm not, everybody's laughing in the control room. Or, I mean, let's not say something embarrassing. Let's just say you're shopping for herpes medication or something. And they say, hey, Tim Johnson, just made up name, he loves our herpes medication. He's been reordering it for 3 years from the online pharmacy. Or how about we say something like, hey, Mike Johnson is another random name. He's been purchasing. Well, just imagine. I think we'll just leave it at that. And that's the New York Times. And the New York Times is kind of like the other New York Times article where they're like, yeah, abortions are more available. You can run over a woman with a car. It's all right to get rid of the baby. You can shoot her. And it's all right as long as it gets rid of the baby. I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying. And they call it opening it up for more availability. And that's how the New York Times makes it sound. Google sets plan to sell users endorsements off what you buy, whether you like it or not. Oh, boy, you got to love that one. Now, let's go to this next piece. dealing with the TSA tyranny taking over this country.
Welcome to Tyranny Watch. I'm Giardina. Well, leave it to the TSA not to make your day. The Abomination Protocol is non-exclusive to age. A 3-year-old was recently harassed by the TSA. His mother, Renee Bergeron, told Yahoo about her youngest child, Apollo, who suffers from a rare heart defect, being harassed by the TSA. She said, I walked right up to the first agent and told her my son is tube-fed and this cooler has formula and medical supplies in it. But instead, the TSA agent put the bag through the x-ray machine and did not give a heads up to the next agent. That's when the agent at the machine freaked out. At that point, they surrounded me and began treating me like a suspect. Now, you have to watch what you say, as we reported on Infowars.com. At George Bush International Airport, they tell you that you have to watch what you say or you might be detained. And it's true, they will detain you if they don't like what you say. They did this to a relative of mine 2 weeks ago, and he boarded a plane, loaded his luggage, sat down, and then all of a sudden they stopped loading passengers and 2 TSA agents came on board and removed him from the plane. Now, that held up the flight, upset quite a few of the other passengers, and he wasn't told what exactly he was being detained for, except he was not going to fly out that night. Now, he's a senior citizen, so obviously they don't discriminate in age if they're harassing 3-year-olds and senior citizens. But needless to say, United called the next day, and I spoke with them. They were trying to get him a flight out the next day, but it was too late because he had already decided to take a car and drive home. But what are you supposed to do when the TSA detains you and says you're not going to fly out? Do they seriously expect you to just obey? Not. So help fight the tyranny. Sign up for prisonplanet.tv today and give your username and password to up to 10 people. I'm Gigi Arnetta for Tyranny Watch on the InfoWars Nightly News.
Alex Jones here to warn you about some of the most important health information you may ever hear. I'm talking about radiation, radioactive fallout, radioactive particles contaminating the Northern Hemisphere. Conservatively, since the 1940s, the Northern Hemisphere of our planet has more than doubled its background radiation. In fact, that was before Fukushima exploded. Now the levels are going up and up and up. Fish are contaminated in the Pacific, and the FDA, the EPA, and others, they're not worried about it. They've been raising the levels of what they claim is safe radioactive particles. So after more than 2 years of research into how to protect my family, looking at all the literature, talking to the experts, across the board they agreed iodine is key, but of the family of iodine, nascent, natural, non-GMO, non-factory iodine that comes from the earth is absolutely paramount for your thyroid and other functions in the body. The literature, the research, it's there. It's not my opinion. It is admitted that iodine is essential for the health of our bodies overall, and nascent iodine is the best form. Now, we're announcing the launch of InfoWarsLife.com, and we're going to bring you scores of products over the next few years that we're researching and developing. But nascent iodine is the first product we're coming out with because it's so important, and it's also listed as a fluoride detoxer. It does so many other things. Your body needs it, and when you don't have enough iodine, forget the radiation, your thyroid absorbs the sodium fluoride and other things. Nascent iodine and InfoWars Life Survival Shield in double strength at half the cost of the leading competitors. Please visit InfoWarsLife.com today. And the players. This is one of the most dangerous stories we've ever reported on. It's very, very serious, so that's coming up. But first, we live in a free country, so everything's all right.
You are also reminded that any inappropriate remarks or jokes concerning security may result in your arrest. We appreciate your cooperation while these measures are in effect.
That's right. If you go to Infowars.com, you can read the story by Paul Joseph Watson. TSA loudspeakers threatens travelers with arrest for joking. So if you criticize them or if you say, hey, don't...
Hair must, but I do say no more than 10 to 20 million killed, tops, depending on the breaks.
First off tonight, 2 separate top nuke commanders have been removed from command in the last month following our internal sources telling us that nukes were basically dug out of secret mothballs at Dyess Air Force Base in West Texas and disappeared onto the East Coast. Now, the number 2 commander of nuclear forces, an admiral, was removed a few weeks ago, and now the commander over all the forces, a Lieutenant General Carey, was removed today. But get this, the Associated Press leaked the information out to the rest of the press, and their reporters said that everyone's scared in government to even talk about the purge of generals that is going on right now. Normally it'd be big news, you'd know why. This is getting extremely, extremely suspicious. And after the first break, Anthony Gucciardi, Infowars.com and StoryLeak.com reporter, is going to be in studio with us, breaking down all the different connections. It's Friday, October 11th, 2013. I'm Alex Jones, and this is an extremely important edition of Infowars Nightly News.
Tonight, the Obamacare website may be a joke, but don't laugh at the TSA.
Jokes concerning security may result in your arrest.
And it was unprecedented when a nuke deputy commander was relieved for cause. Now, the top nuke commander has been fired. What's going on? All that and more on tonight's Infowars Nightly News.
I'm not saying we wouldn't get our